Hi, my name is Sergey, and today I want to talk about Scrum. Scrum is a leading agile product development framework. It provides foundation and path to delivering business goal in a collaborative, safe, and enjoyable manner. When was the last time you put collaborative, sane, and enjoyable in the same sentence with business goal? You may not remember unless you already use Scrum. But with Scrum, you can indeed enjoy your work again. Concept that would become Scrum was first introduced to the world in 1986 by Hirotaka Takeuchi and Ikujiro Nanaka in the new product development game. They defined their approach as a flexible, holistic product development strategy. They call it the holistic or rugby approach because, much like in a rugby match, one cross-functional team passes the ball back and forth on the way to the goal line. Scrum is an agile methodology that can be applied to nearly any project. However, Scrum is most commonly used in software development. Scrum process is suited for projects with rapidly changing or highly emigrant requirements. Scrum software development progress with serious iteration called sprints, which last from 1 to 4 weeks. The Scrum model suggests each sprint begins with a brief planning meeting and concludes with a review. There are the basics of Scrum project management. In the Agile Scrum world, instead of providing complete, detailed description of how everything to be done on a project, much of it left up to the Scrum software development team. This is because the team will know best how to solve the problem. There are many software development methodologies. Debates on their pros and cons are countless. Same way like other discussions of such kind, for example, which programming language better. Answer is simple. This methodology is better in a given case which suits the requirements and condition best. The problem is it's hard to choose the proper one. Scrum is very popular among many software development teams that work not only in small startups but also in big companies. The huge advantage of Scrum is its dynamics and flexibility. Okay, let's talk about advantages. Scrum helps company in saving time and money. Fast-moving, cutting-edge developments can be quickly coded and tested using this method. There is clear visibility of the project development. It requires continuous feedback from the user. Due to short sprints and constant feedback, it becomes easier to cope with the change. Daily meeting makes it possible to measure individual productivity. And disadvantages. If task is not well defined, about disadvantages. If task is not well defined, estimating project cost and time will not be accurate. In such case, the task can be spread over several sprints. If the team members are not committed, the project will either never complete or fail. It is good for small, fast-moving projects as it works well only with small team. This methodology needs experienced team members only. Scrum works well when the Scrum Master trusts the team, and if any of the team members leave during development, it can huge inverse effect on the project development. The primary artifact in Scrum development is, of course, the product itself. The Scrum model expects the team to bring the product or system to a potentially shippable state at the end of each Scrum sprint. There are three basic artifacts of Scrum: the product backlog, sprint backlog, and the burn down chart. Product backlog in Scrum is prioritized feature list containing short description of all functionality desired in the product. Typically, Scrum team and its product owner begin by writing down everything they can think of the agile backlog prioritization. The agile product backlog is almost always more than enough for a first sprint. Scrum product backlog is then allowed to grow and change as more is learned about the product and its customers. The sprint backlog is a list of tasks defined by the Scrum team to be completed during the Scrum sprint. The sprint backlog is commonly maintained as a spreadsheet, but it's also possible to use your defect tracking system or any of number of software product designed specifically for Scrum or Agile. The Scrum burn down chart is a visual measurement tool that shows the completed work per day. Let's take an example using the sprint burn down chart below. As you can see, the team in this scenario pulled in too much work initially into the sprint backlog and still had nearly 600 hours to go on the day 13 of 20-day sprint. The product owner was consulted and agreed to remove some user stories from the sprint. This resulted in the big drop on the chart between day 13 and 14. From there, the team made consistent progress and finished the Scrum sprint successfully. In contrast to classical project management methods, Scrum doesn't have and doesn't need product manager, task manager, or a team lead. The most important three roles in Scrum are product owner, Scrum master, and development team. Their three roles are co-equal, and all of them have criteria and responsibilities, of which I want to name a few. Scrum product owner is typically a project key stakeholder. Part of the product owner responsibilities is to have a vision of what he or she wishes to build and convey the vision to the Scrum team. This is a key to successfully starting any agile software development project. The agile product owner does this in part through his product backlog, which is prioritized features list of the product. Communication is a large part of the product owner responsibilities. He or she must be able to communicate different messages to different people about the project at any given time. Scrum Master is often considered a coach for the team, helping the team to do best work it possibly can. Scrum Master can also be chosen as process owner for the team, creating a balance with the project case stakeholder who is referred to as the product owner. The third and final role in Scrum project management is the Scrum team itself. As truth, individuals may join the team with various job titles. In Scrum, the titles are insignificant. Scrum Methodology states that each person contributes in whatever way they can to complete the work of each sprint. One way to think of the interlocking nature of these three roles in this agile methodology is a race car. The Scrum team is the car itself, ready to speed along the whatever direction it is pointed. The product owner is the driver, making sure that the car is always going in the right direction. And the Scrum Master is the chief mechanic, keeping the car well tuned and performing at its best. Scrum roles, artifacts, and activities work together within a Scrum cycle. We take a look at each of these in more detail below. Scrum includes 5 activities or meetings: product backlog refinements, sprint planning, daily Scrum, sprint review, and sprint retrospective. Okay, product backlog refinement. Product backlog items are often large and general in nature, and they can come and go as priorities change. Depending on the nature of the product, other skills and inputs may be needed. That's my product backlog refinements is really a responsibility of all team members, not just the product owner. Product backlog refinements is an excellent way to prepare for upcoming sprints. When you refine the product backlog, you confirm the order of the product backlog items, remove or demote items that no longer seem important, and or promote items that come up or become more important. Split larger items into smaller items or smaller items into larger items. Identify which items are sprint ready. Sprint planning. Each sprint begins with a time-boxed meeting called sprint planning. In this meeting, the Scrum team selects and understands the work to be done in the sprint. In Scrum, the sprint planning meeting is attended by the product owner, Scrum Master, and the entire Scrum team. There are two defined artifacts in results from a sprint planning meeting: a sprint goal and sprint backlog. In Scrum, on each day of sprint, the team holds a daily Scrum meeting called the Daily Scrum. Meetings are typically held in the same location and at the same time each day. Ideally, a daily Scrum meeting is held in the morning, as it helps set the context for the coming day work. These Scrum meetings are strictly time boxed to 15 minutes. This keeps the discussion brisk but relevant. During the daily Scrum, each team members answer the following three questions: what did you do yesterday? What will you do today? And are there any impediments in your way? By focusing on what each person accomplished yesterday and will accomplish today, the team gains an excellent understanding of what work has been done and what work remains. Sprint review. When the sprint ends, it's time for the team to present its work to the product owner. This is known as the sprint review meeting. The product owner declares which items are truly done or not. Teams commonly discovered that a story final touches often exceeds the most efforts and time. Partially done work should not be called done. After the sprint review meeting, the team and the Scrum Master get together for the retrospective meeting. At the sprint retrospective, the team reflects on the past sprint, and there are two main questions are asked in the sprint retrospective: what went well during the sprint? What could be improved in the next sprint? The recommended duration is 1.5 hours for a 2-week sprint. This event is facilitated by the Scrum Master. Okay, and conclusion of my first ever presentation with my voice. Scrum is a management framework for incremental product development using one or more cross-functional self-organized teams of about 7 people each. It provides a structure of roles, meetings, rules, and artifacts. Teams are responsible for creating and adapting their process with this framework. Scrum uses fixed late iteration called sprints, which are typically 1-2 week long, never more than 30 days. Scrum teams attempt to build a potentially shippable, properly tested product, increment over iteration. So, when was the last time you put collaborative, sane, and enjoyable in the same sentence with business goal? You might not remember unless you already use Scrum, but with Scrum you can indeed enjoy your work again.